Hi, everybody. Recruiting animal here, down in the corner. Okay. No glory for me. It's June 14th, 2023. I always get the year confused, Anyway, it's 2023. We've got special guest today, Amy Miller, recruitingInYogaPants.com, right? Steve Levy,
Yes.
thinks funny with the hat. He's mocking me. Jeff Newman, haven't talked to him for years. He's been a guest a few times before. And a new guy, Tom Byrne. I don't know you. Do I, Tom? Tom's muffled. Okay, he's muted. You don't have to do anything. Okay. But okay. Yeah. I don't know how to turn people off if they don't want to show. There should be a way to if they don't want to talk, there should be a way to get rid of their squares. Anyway, okay. So maybe you've been on before, Tom. I can't remember. You have to remind me. But today or yesterday on LinkedIn, I had a breakthrough. The only posting that I've ever done that got more than 5 clicks or something like that was a quote from Rich, immediately contradicted by a quote from Amy. Okay, and the one from Rich is if the candidate, the first thing they want to know is how much money they are going to make you cry. If that's Rich, I'm quoting you correctly, aren't I?
More or less. Close enough.
Oh, you say it, okay? You say it. You're here.
Yeah, no, listen, I play sales guys. If they're only interested in money, that's when they're going to make you cry.
Okay. And Amy says, no, you silly
Well,
goose.
now hold on. I didn't say they wouldn't make you cry. Okay.
You said it's a buying signal.
It is a buying signal. It is a buying signal, but that can still make you cry. Those are two different topics. Let's just. If somebody says lots of things make me cry, being on this show is going to make me cry.
Steve Levy said he behaved, so he's making noise in the background. Okay, so just let me say here, Rich means this person is not going to be a placement. Okay.
Okay. Look. I am very literal. Okay. If Rich says this makes you cry, then I'm like, oh, that means that's going to make you cry. Like, that's it. I don't read into it. I take people at their word for what they say. If you meant something else, you should say something else.
Do you speak English?
That can absolutely make people cry.
Everybody knows what it means, okay?
I don't speak Canadian English.
He's West Coast English.
Okay. Everybody understands. Rich said it's not going to be a placement. Amy says, hey, it's a good sign. Okay.
Right. We don't know. It's too early to tell.
Is anybody here at ESP? Does anyone here at ESP?
Of course. We all do.
That's what as we tell our wives, and they laugh at us when we say we do.
Yeah. No, but there's no always and never in recruiting.
There you go.
There is, but it's a sign of if this guy's only interested in money, that's their only concern about moving as a sales guy, it's probably not really the guy that's going to take the job. He's going to either use it for a counter offer, or he's just going to say, oh, you know what? It's not worth it. I got a deal coming next quarter or whatever. There's got to be more pain is the point.
Well, Rich, to make that one point a little bit, I agree if they're only interested in money. What is the one thing, you push money aside, that would tell you that maybe? Yeah, because it's the internal.
Are you speaking English? I don't understand what he's saying. Okay.
I gotta tell you, I hear what you're saying, Rich. But you know who it makes me think of? It makes me think of Han Solo, and he's getting in the Millennium Falcon, and Princess Leia says.
Crazy.
Princess Leia says, if money is all you want, then money is all you'll get. And then he shows up at the end of the movie to save everybody's ass. So if you're cutting from that one line, you're not digging deep enough into the candidate. And when you're dealing with salespeople, I'd be more scared if they're not interested in money as the number one thing.
Two things. One, it's not the only, it's a starter question. I don't just hang up the phone. Two, if as someone who's placed over 1,000 salespeople, I can tell you, if that is their only driver, everyone thinks that's the cool answer. Absolutely not, though. Not even close.
I think the industry plays a big part here because, like Rich said, he's in sales. That's his thing, exec sales. So that's going to be a very different experience than a 3 to 5 year software engineer. So you can't really apply the same rule to different industries all the time.
See, I wish
it's just a different.
I wish that people could see they're not going to see the effect this has. Okay, both of these people are backpedaling. They make a big statement. That gets applause for them, but then when you say, well, what does it mean? Oh, well, yeah, it's not this, only this industry, only this tiny sector. I didn't mean it literally. Come on.
It's clarification.
Exactly.
We have to dumb it down for you.
Exactly.
A general stuff. I knew what you meant, and I've heard it a million times from him.
Why did you really go into the recruiting devil persona?
What does Tom think?
If you knew what they meant,
you want to say something
down the 7 gates of hell. Why, Michael? Why?
Does this guy have an opinion, Tommy?
I do have an opinion. Like Amy, I focus in technology, IT. I've been doing it for over 30 years. And first question I always get, who's the client and what's it going to pay? Who's the client and what's it going to pay? It doesn't make a difference whether I talk to a software engineer, a database administrator, a hiring manager. That's the thing I get immediately.
You got to know how to sidestep the question to get behind.
Well, you sure you do. I do get around that. But if I agree with Rich. If money is the only motivator, okay, then I need to find out what are their expectations and are they realistic? And a lot of times they're unrealistic. And that's where I got to try to educate them. And sometimes they don't want to hear it.
Yeah, I mean, if there's no other pain other than money, they're going to hurt. They're going to just break your heart at the end of the day.
Right. Yep.
And to be frank, and I think both sides of the recruiting fence will agree with this, it won't be there very long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ultimately, that's what it is, and there has to be some connection to it, some visceral thing.
But you can at least start the conversation. You can be like, look, let's pretend this pays $1 million. Like, is that the only pain you're feeling right now, or is there something else you'd want on top of $1 million?
Mm-hmm.
Of course, nowadays, folks will say, "It pays $1 million, really?"
Yeah.
I mean, if you're in sales, right? Like Rich is a $1 million guy. Don't tell me he's not. He's playing in those waters. So yeah, sure. Why not? $1 million might be too little. I don't know.
Okay, hold on a second though. No. But look at Lou Adler. His classic thing is they're going to ask about the money, find a way to sidestep. Say, hey, this is a career issue. Okay, that's what we want to talk about before we talk about the money. Put the money to the side. Never discuss it first. But Amy, you're not in that school, right? It's a good sign. You're saying it's a sign they're interested at least. You answer them with the money. Am I right about that? You tell them.
Of course I do. I tell them.
Did you really just make a Lou Adler reference? That's what I want to know. Back in 1992, when I was fighting the Kaiser.
He's still sending me emails, so I remember what he says. Okay. And,
I remember meeting him in person once.
Wow.
Actually, he's a Long Island boy.
Congratulations. Okay. So you know what? I thought this was a clear clash of ideas, and it's not turning out to be. Okay. I don't feel I'm getting a clear answer. Okay. Okay, Amy, let me ask, anybody got some follow-ups for her? If somebody wants to know the money right away, have you turned those people into hires?
Yeah, all the time.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm like Amy. It's my job isn't to psychoanalyze why a person comes to an interview with a certain question. If that's important to them, I'll answer the question. I'll be honest. Because there are real downsides to being honest with someone who's job seeking.
Okay, hold on a second. Amy has a detailed posting as well about how she handles these questions about money. And I think you say there's a range, but I don't think you give them the top range.
No,
right at the beginning.
I give a minimum. I give a minimum. I'm like, an offer will not be less than this.
Mm-hmm.
No, but don't you tell them as well? Sorry, I have it written down here somewhere, but I'm not going to look it up right now. But you say, but it's probably going. The minimum is this, but it's probably going to land somewhere around like the mid range. But you don't tell them it's too. You'll say like it's going to be 150, but you don't say.
I will say it will be no less than. How does that sound? And some people will be like, that sounds amazing. Okay, great. It's probably going to be higher. Interview feedback plays a big part. There's other factors that will go into the final offer decision. But I promise you, unless you are down leveled, unless there's some indicator that this is not the role and there's a different role for you, I will not make you an offer below X. And people are either okay with that, or they're like, oh shit, that's not nearly enough. I need, X amount more. And I can let them know, hey, that's higher in the range. You're really going to have to knock their socks off in the interview to get there, but it's possible. Or I say, nope, not going to happen for this job. I'll catch you next time.
Yeah. And I'll do the same thing. I don't go with the minimum. I go with the midpoint, but with caveats. And the caveats are, I bring in, we target midpoint, anywhere between, I talk about comp ratio. I talk about internal equity. So they understand that it's
Did
not.
he just say he's honest? He likes to be honest. They ask the salary, and he doesn't give them the full range. He pretends it's only half the range.
The midpoint is this. There's a low, there's a high.
Well, but isn't the obvious question for the person then? Well, what's the top? What's the top of the range? Amy has an answer. I know her answer. Okay, but don't they ask that?
Yeah,
Steve.
And I give them the top of the range if they want it. If you're honest with somebody, usually, most of the time, they'll eventually be honest with you because we circle back.
These aren't black and Animal likes to make everything black and white.
Everything is black and white.
And
okay,
it's really not.
Everything
It's really not.
I mean, look what he's wearing.
Exactly.
Jeff.
So I found that when you give a range, the candidate usually only hears the top number of the range.
That part.
Yeah.
And that's why I don't like to give a range. And something interesting we did during my tenure at TextGeo is we never had ranges. We had bands. And we said someone who was at this level in the lifetime of the role, they're expected to make this. And then your offer will be in the middle, based not just on your skills, but on equity with other team members based on where they're at. And you know what the candidates heard? They still heard, oh, that's the high number at the role. And it was a deeper explanation. But as states are moving to full salary disclosure, I think those discussions are going to become more common than less common.
That's one of the things that Amy said. She says, I live in Seattle, or there's a full disclosure there. I don't have to keep anything secret. Didn't you say that in your posting?
I did. And so do you want to, I know you love stories. I can tell you the story about the guy that would not give me any insight. And we ended up, I'll tell you that story. You want to hear it? All right.
Yeah.
So very senior leader in engineering. And I said exactly that. An offer is not going to be less than $500,000 or something, right? And he said, oh, well, that's not nearly enough. I said, okay, that's good feedback. Let's talk about what is enough so I can make sure that we're not wasting each other's time. Well, I just need a lot more than that. Okay, well, I don't know how to write that on an offer letter, sir. So can you give me a number? Can you give me something? What is your minimum? Whatever. And he wouldn't give. So I went back to the leader and I'm like, hey, here's the deal. This could be just really shitty offer negotiation tactics he's read on the internet, like every other candidate in my inbox. But here's where we're at. What do you want to do? He said, well, let him know we're not going above the top of the number. Like if he's that good and his interview feedback is that good, I will make an exception. I will go to the top of the range, but tell him no more than this. I went back. I said, hey, no more than this. He said, well, I don't think that's enough. I said, then I don't think we should interview. Like, I think we should just say goodbye because I'm telling you right now, this is the maximum and we will not get there if your interview feedback is not stellar and you're not walking on water during the interview. And he said, well, let's just go through the interview and see. So we go through the interview and see. He was great. Like he was technically very good. We made the offer at that top of the range. And guess what? It was still $100,000 less than he was willing to accept. The hiring manager years later, every now and again, will text me and be like, remember that guy?
Yeah. Does anybody want to comment on that?
We've all had those.
Yeah.
Okay, but here's what Amy says.
But here's the thing.
If they want the top,
I didn't look bad. I did my part. I was honest. I was transparent. I kept everybody informed. I gave everybody the truth and the specific numbers. That guy screwed up his own career with that organization and any other organization that director ends up at.
Yep.
Okay. But because it generally agreed, nobody likes giving the top of the range or top of the band, if you want to use that vocabulary.
Sure.
Nobody likes giving it. So nobody's really honest.
Because very few people will get there.
except in
You'll
sales.
get there over time, like Jeff is saying. You'll get there over time. The longer you're in the organization, the more you are, whether you're promoted, whether you're just getting bigger projects, you're growing over time. But nobody comes in at the top of the range, because then guess what happens? Comp review comes around, and now you're pissed because you're not getting a raise.
That's not what you told your acolytes, your fans. Okay, you said, you said yesterday.
That's a subscriber only, data point there.
Hold on.
It also depends, Amy. It also depends too. You're working at these big companies, these startups. Sure. It's a different story. I mean,
absolutely.
And that's like you were saying earlier. Everything is so case dependent, as we said, Animal.
I have boundaries. Rich may not. That again is the distinction. You're talking about uncapped commission, perhaps. You're talking about startups. You're talking about a completely. It's like going to the baseball field and being mad they're not playing basketball. Like, what did you expect? Where do you think you are?
Love the analogy.
I guess because I'm living in another country than you two guys, I can't read, because Rich says clearly, if they want money, if that's their prime motive, you're going to cry. That means, just let me clarify, that means it's not going to work out.
Right. If that's their only motivation to move, it is going to blow up your face.
It's good when they ask for money.
I'm saying that's the first motivation that came out of their mouth. There may be other motivations that you have not unpacked yet.
I agree, but that's the thing. Animal takes that as an
Am I wrong, Uncle Steve?
That's Animal. Animal takes it as that's end all be all. It's not. Hey, that's the one sentence they said, so the conversation's over. You need a chance to get over. Hey, what else? As we said 3 times. What other problems are they facing? Is it just that they need $1 million, or is it, hey, the boss is a jackass and we got to move on?
So you guys are saying now,
no candidate is a bowl of soup. They're all big things to stew. And if you're looking at a chicken broth and your candidate's a chicken broth, you got problems because they're stew and you don't know what the hell's in there because it's a big bowl of brown.
Okay, but bowl of brown doesn't sound very good. Okay, okay, hold on a second. So what these people are saying now is, let me see. Oh, Tommy, she said things they disagree too. That's what I'll move on to after. Amy and Tom violently disagree about stuff, but maybe they'll end up saying, we agree. It's you, recruiting animal, who you're just too stupid to understand the complexity.
That's also possible.
Yeah.
That is a quote, right?
No, but I got lost. Yeah. I wanted to criticize, but this is what Amy says. Okay, I can't remember if she said it in writing or on her videos, which are great. Recruiting in yokapants.com on YouTube. They're fantastic videos. She's a great performer. Most videos put people to sleep. I listened to a number of hers, although I will admit I did speed them up to 1.5.
I try to keep them short. I'll talk faster for you.
I did speed them up. Well, no, since I watched them there. Okay, but this one. Okay, let me get to what you actually said. Okay, which is different from what you said now. If the candidate asks for 200, she'll say that's the very top of the range. And you'll have to be better than everyone else in capitals in this role to get approved at the max. Do you still want to proceed? That's not what Jeff said, and you agreed with Jeff now. You agreed with what Jeff said and what about, that's a future goal. It's not
No, but again, no. I said exactly what I meant to say. And in the example I just gave you, that's a clear example of someone who truly was technically better than everyone else we had in the role. That's why we were willing to go to the top of the range. We also talked about what is next for this person. What is the career path? What is the next step up? What does promo need to look like so that they're not stuck at the top of the range and pissed off in a year? This guy was that good, but the soft skills blew it. Like, we made an offer, we did the best we could, we came in at the top, we did everything we committed we were going to do.
I'm cutting you off, okay?
You can't fix
you're not the first.
Is Tommy here?
Yeah, you can't fix a jerk. That's what that guy was, unfortunately.
You can't fix him. You just fire them.
Tom says never work with a candidate who's interviewing at a number of places, okay? Amy says all of her candidates are interviewing.
I'd never interview anyone.
Seriously, yeah. I don't agree with that one either.
Yeah,
I mean, if it works in your industry, I say go for it. Like, again, every industry, every recruiter, every company is going to have their circumstances that work for them. Yeah. I learned a long time ago, working in FANG, they are all going to play the field. every chance they get. Not a single engineer I personally know and have recruited is ever willing to be one and done. They need more data. Oh, well, if I can get this from Amazon, maybe I can get that from Google, and I want to see what Microsoft's got. Maybe I'll talk to a couple startups. Like, they are in a data collection exercise. They will put that shit on a spreadsheet, slice and dice it, and make the decision that they feel is in their best interest.
And as the
I think that's a great point, because Rich's job, what he does, is as mystifying to me as the appeal of the Kardashians. I don't get sales recruiting. And I'm terrible at recruiting salespeople because I like to believe.
We're talking about Tom. I can't see. His picture's not showing here.
When you get those sales, Jeff.
Yeah, but you got me.
I find it mystification.
Yeah, you got me confused with a different Tom. That was Tom Alascio that was saying don't interview candidates that are interviewing with other companies.
Oh.
But yeah, and I was on that session.
Wait a second. Animal was confused.
Let Tom Byrne. Tom Byrne wants to say something. Give the guy a chance. He's too polite. Okay, he's not like us. You want to say something, Tom?
Yeah, I agree with what Amy's saying. You know, with the caveat that I'm not working for a corporation. Okay, I work for a search firm, so totally. I represent all different types of companies. I don't ever get into a point where I discuss what the salary is. I ask them point blank, what are you custom earning and what are your expectations? And sometimes I get the ones that want to play hardball. Well, what is the range? What is the rate? What is this? What is that? And before I can
wake up, we moved on to another question already.
I'm sorry, that parrot thing that Steve was wearing kind of threw me off. Go ahead.
The question now is, and we'll wrap it up fast. I don't know. I'm losing control. Steve wanted to say something, but it's
when are you in control?
Michael, you haven't had control in 12 years. Give me a break.
I've known you since like 2010. I've never known you to have control.
Yeah, what are you talking? I've known you before that.
Will you interview people who are looking at more than one company at the same time?
Absolutely. Why not?
Yeah, I mean that's suicidal not to.
Yeah. Who wants to be left out?
Man.
I mean, it would be nice to have exclusivity.
There's no commission for being the only company somebody's not interviewing at.
Yeah.
Do you think that in recent years where FOMO, that fear of missing out, that easily available Netflix, like when I grew up, you had 3 channels. If you didn't like it, you read a book. And now you can look at everything everywhere all at once. Do you think that has changed the way candidates approached their job search? That they used to have 3 jobs that they found in the back of the New York Times, but now they have a plethora, a cornucopia, you know?
What? If you're going to be on this show again, Jeff, you're going to talk faster, okay?
Just speed it up, Animal.
Well, actually, you know what? The editors allow you to take a certain section and speed that section up, but I don't know how to do that.
I grew up with a speech impediment where I couldn't say th. So I talk slow now, even 40 years after doing it.
On a diversity offense, okay?
You know it. Okay, roll with it, baby. Roll.
Just talk the way you talk. It's okay.
You're talking over your pal Steve Levy. He's got a muffled mic and he's been trying to say something for 10 minutes. Okay, so go ahead, Steve.
Animal, you're on a roll today, aren't you?
I'm not on a roll. I'm not getting clear answers from these guys.
Before we go too far, can everyone go buy a mug?
There you
Support
go.
How much is it?
Okay, do the recruitinginyogapants.com. You go to her website, and what do you click on? Shop.
Yep.
And she sends it to charity.
T-shirt. I donated to the animal shelter.
You're not looking at.
By the way, Amy,
it makes me $0.
Amy, I gave them again this year.
You did?
Yes.
Do you know I have a plaque? So many people have donated on my behalf. They gave me a plaque at one of the little dog shelters.
At the time, there was like you wanted it to reach $500, if I recall, and you went way beyond that.
Way beyond, yes. You guys are amazing. I love you.
Okay, you know what? Okay, so hold on. Do you want to do a plug for your job search, Jeffrey Newman? You're looking again, right?
Oh my, am I looking? I am open. Let's talk, and anything. My specialty is candidate engagement. Apparently, it's also talking slow, but I've devised programs at Dropbox, and then you add a little sprinkle of DEIB.
Are you smart enough to get a domain name that points to your LinkedIn so people can find you easily?
I'm not even smart enough to remember if I'm wearing pants.
Nobody is.
Like-
Steve Levy, are you still at discoinferno.com?
It's a good show.
No, I resigned a month ago, but I actually am Newman's, one of Newman's references. I hired him to my team at Indeed years ago.
Yeah.
Simply one of the best.
Okay, there you go. Jeffrey Newman.
I learned it from you, Dad. I learned it from watching you.
Okay. Okay, so let me move on. Because okay, you know what? Oh yeah. What about social? Okay, you know what? There's a well-known recruiting pundit. Okay, and he always accuses me. We haven't talked for a few years, but he used to accuse me regularly of misquoting him. I don't know why. Really? Yeah. Okay.
So I'm not because you actually misquote people. That would never happen.
I'm good. Oh, Tom. Now he's here. Okay. I'll come back to you in a sec. Okay, Tom. Before Tommy Alascio. Okay, Pistachio. Amy says all of her candidates are interviewing with other companies. You say you'd never work with a candidate who's interviewing with other companies. You want to take her on before we move on?
I think he's unable to connect.
Yeah, he's muted himself.
As usual.
Well, I think this is Wednesday shirt.
We get. I got a new pink shirt for you guys. So we get paid. We get paid $25,000, $35,000, $40,000 to find passive candidates who are not looking to make a job change, candidates who are not open to work. They're not on Monster. They're not a career builder. When a client pays you $25,000, you don't bring them some schmo off of Monster board who's interviewing with 3 other recruiters. You go out and find them a good candidate that will work for them.
Let's rumble. You are getting, because I've done it too, you're getting paid $25,000, $35,000, $45,000, $50,000 a placement for the process. It does not matter where somebody came from. It does not matter if they were hand delivered by the store themselves into your driveway. The fact of the matter is you are paid to navigate the process start to finish and manage the emotions and bullshit on both sides and drag these two people with very different criteria and expectations of you to the finish line successfully. Does not matter who they're talking to, where they came from, any of that shit. That's bullshit that recruiters hide behind.
Absolutely
and it's nonsense.
You're doing a disservice to your client by bringing them somebody who's interviewing elsewhere because you don't know anything about the other interview. You know nothing about the other interview.
If you're not bringing the best possible person,
you're saying you can't compete. Oh, if somebody else is talking to my candidate, there's no way I
can
can
what I'm saying. I'm saying you're not getting information. You have information. You don't have information about what the other offer is, how good the other company is.
Even that that passive active is bullshit.
Passive and active is bullshit. Yes, it is. It's total. Your candidates are lying to you. They're lying to you. I've been exclusive with some boyfriends in the past too, and that was also a lie.
That's just what I was going to say, Amy. If you speak with a passive candidate and they're like a divorcee right on the market, they go, I didn't realize how sexy I was. Let me see who else I can date. Once you activate them, they're active.
Yes,
there's no such thing as only one place.
Constantly having candidates not take your jobs. Your candidates going to work with other companies. That's fine. That's your prerogative. But I'm not working with a bunch of schmoes who are on Monster.
Somebody who's looking at multiple jobs is not a schmo. And if you really think that, you're part of the problem.
No, you guys are part of the problem, thinking you can pull pieces of shit off of Monster board and get $25,000 fees for it.
Amy, by the way, when was the last time we used Monster?
No, but wait a second. Let me clarify, Tom.
The last time Lou Adler was relevant.
Tom, you're setting up a straw man argument. You can find candidates who are looking at multiple places who didn't come from Monster, just like
I have exceptions to every rule, but I'm not going. I have to realize that if my client has the best possible opportunity, yes, then I'll jump into that ring. But I'm not going to, kid myself that my job is better than all those other jobs and that he's going to take mine over them. If I can't look at that opportunity and say, yes, my client's opportunity is better in every single way, then yes.
Hold on.
It doesn't have to be better in every single way. It has to be better for the candidate. That's it.
Okay. Do you actually say to your candidates, look, if you're working with me, I don't want you to go in and interview with any other company?
Like you're literally not allowed to interview anywhere else or talk to any other recruiters.
I don't go after open to work people. So when I'm talking to somebody that we recruit, you know, and if someone says to me, yes, I've sent my resume to 3 other recruiters, I have 5 interviews set up this week, not my unless I can look at that and say, this guy is a rock star that my client will do everything to get hired, and this candidate will take my job, I won't jump into the fray. It's not worth my time.
Hey, some people can't compete, and that's okay. There's no shame in that.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Play horse with yourself. That's okay. You can play horse all by yourself. You don't have to get in the basketball league. It's totally fine.
Okay, nobody agrees with Tom. Okay, even Rich was.
That's fine.
Even Rich said
Tom's 26 years into it, and
he's doing what he's doing, and he's successful. So let him be. That's fine.
Yeah, I don't want to deal with. I don't work IT. I don't work with people who are interviewing multiple places. I don't have candidates that when I get a guy like a superintendent and I recruit a superintendent, he's not interviewing elsewhere because it's a quick process. It takes 2 interviews. I mean, you can salute all you want.
I believe that. I believe you.
You know,
I believe
26 years. You know, you can believe whatever you fucking want.
I think it goes right back to the first 5 minutes of this dialogue, which is Rich and Amy and me, and we all recruit different industries and different humans. So maybe if you're interviewing for a superintendent, they really don't have any other places to go and you can be exclusive. When I'm interviewing for a Java dev, they got as many boyfriends as a Kardashian. See how I brought it right back?
Those guys are highly wanted.
Tom is getting paid to deliver. He's gonna deliver that person. And that's what you
I don't work contingency either.
That's what you get paid for. You get paid to deliver.
Yeah,
if you can't deliver,
I don't work contingency. I don't work IT. I don't work these crazy markets with thousands of recruiters. There's nobody who works in one of the markets I work. There's no other recruiter who specializes when I specialize in. So I don't. That's not. I mean, look, okay. I get it. If you're working IT, you're working developers, you're working fin or whatever that stuff's called, financial. I get it. Yeah,
tech,
you're highly competitive. Tons of recruiters, tons of candidates. Everybody's wanting to make job changes. That's just not me. I wouldn't do that.
Okay.
That would drive me insane.
Tom, now you're saying I won't work with it, but that's only me. Okay, it doesn't really apply to you. Would never.
Look, there's exceptions to every rule. If that's how you have to work in your marketplace, if there's nothing you can do about it.
Okay.
I mean, we could also say if that's how you have to work, where you have to be the only recruiter because you can't compete with other recruiters, then that's fine too. How you have to work,
just fine. That's just you were talking. I can't compete. Fine, I can't compete.
Okay, let me move on.
Textbook says otherwise.
I like it when people are arguing, but you're talking over each other. Nobody can understand what you're saying, okay? Look at my hands. Let's move on, okay?
Guys, I have a question.
Oh, Sasha, hi. Go ahead.
Hi, everyone. Hi. Well, I'm not in a possibility to turn on camera, but I'm not understanding. You are not legally allowed to obligate a candidate not to speak with other recruiters. How can you?
Yeah,
how do you know?
I'm not.
How do you know?
With them, they didn't. I don't have to work with anybody. I'm not a social worker. I don't give a shit about what people think about me. Okay, I do things my way. I'm successful at it. You want to go interview with 3 other companies? Fine.
Okay.
Okay. So just to make sure that
that sounds so joyless. That sounds so sad.
I fucking love my job. I love this job. I work 20 hours a week.
So you just make sure to verbalize that. Like, I'm not working with candidates or working with other recruiters. I'm 100% dedicated to you, and I would like. Actually, I'm expecting from you the same. Am I understanding that correct?
That never comes up. I don't work with candidates who are interviewing elsewhere. It doesn't come up.
So if a candidate, serious question, Tom, serious question, because I respect your process because you're successful and it's not for me to say it's right or wrong because it's your thing, right? I may disagree with it, but that's my point of view, not yours, and that's cool. I think Sasha's bringing up a great point. Will you answer a candidate honestly? If a candidate says, do you have any other candidates in line for this same job? What would be your answer, and would it be the truth?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, 100%.
So you'll say, yes, I'm talking to 3 other candidates for the same job.
No, I'll say right now you're interviewing. There's one other candidate who's interviewing. His background is X. Right now, you're in the lead or you're not in the lead. You got to remember, if I get one good candidate, I'm lucky for some of my jobs. I work a very weird niche. I've never get 3 people interviewing for the same job. That hardly ever happens. But yes,
so just to clarify,
you didn't answer Amy's question.
This is just me seeking clarity.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I will tell them.
No. Would you say
have multiple candidates for one job, but your candidate can't have multiple recruiters for their next career move?
And would you say also to the candidate, I am representing the 3 other candidates who are also interviewing for this job?
100%.
Cool. Beautiful. That's nice honesty. I respect that.
I'm honest with all of it. I tell my candidates what's going on. I also tell my client, if for some reason one of my candidates is interviewing elsewhere and I didn't know about it or find out about it, I will say, hey, by the way, we have a problem. John is interviewing at XYZ. I don't know anything about it because I didn't get him the interview, and it may be a problem down the road. I'll try to get as much information as I can, but I want you to know I didn't send him there.
Tom, to that point, Amy and Jeff, we do similar things. We may use slightly different words. We say if someone who's some of the things I might have helped you on in the past. Some of those positions, you get some good flow, you get some good people through the interview process. They come back to you and say, Amy, how am I doing relative to everybody else? We do give them that some level of feedback. We do know that and I know you because you and I have spoken about this. If someone is interviewing elsewhere, we do tell the hiring manager, particularly if someone is that good.
Of course, I want him to know that he may need to compete. They may need to come up and offer. They may need to move faster. There's lots of reasons why that's important.
Look, as much as this makes the animal show what it is, we're on 2 sides of the fence, and we have slightly different backgrounds and different takes on content.
The Recruiting Animal Show, what makes it what it is I don't let people ramble, okay? I don't mind if they fight that much,
Michael,
I don't want you rambling.
If you're tired of animals, just do this.
And I can barely hear you, and I know it's not just me, okay? I know it's not me, because I can hear Tom today as well. And your and your camera's not, your lighting in your room is not bright enough today.
On both sides,
critiques.
Whether you're an in-house recruiter or an out-house recruiter.
Okay.
I'm an outhouse recruiter. I am an outhouse recruiter. It's a little square box.
Does anybody have an issue?
I've been called a lot of things, but never an outhouse.
It's not about having an issue. I find it very interesting. And if I were a candidate, I would literally have, I don't even know if I could formulate the words to explain how not interested I am in working with a recruiter like that. I'm just saying, for me, like if you're going to tell me I only get to work with you if I'm only working with you, oh honey,
that's not. But again,
here's a big difference.
I don't say that.
Okay,
I'd tell you that, but I wouldn't let you look at my
candidates who are working with anyone else or exploring any other opportunities. That's what you said.
Who's got that sound in the background?
Again, unless I know my opportunity is heads and shoulders better than anything they have. That's the only.
How do you know that? How do you know that?
I would tell you you're the only one, baby. I would tell you the only one, but my phone is locked and don't look in there, baby. But you're my only one. But you can't have my passcode.
What's your name again?
I mean, like I take this because I charge a lot of money and I get paid up front, to do the searches. I take this seriously. So when I present a candidate to my client, I want them to have the opportunity to hire him, and I want to have all the information on the candidate. I want to know everything about them. And if they're interviewing elsewhere, not through me, there's stuff I don't know. I don't know how good that opportunity is. I don't know how good that company is. I don't know what his offer is going to be. I can't answer the client intelligently. What's his offer?
Look how much business you're losing because
why in your relationship can you not ask the candidate? That's what I do. Well, what's going on? They'll tell me. Why is it better?
You also can't get the in-depth, like, tell me exactly, lay your offer out to me. What is the base salary? What's the bonus? What's the benefits? What's the growth? What's the company like?
Tom, what if your offer is better? Like, what if your company?
And again, Rich, it's there's an exception to every rule. I'm not saying I don't ever do it, but I stay highly away from it. I don't want to work with candidates who are interviewing else. I just don't want to.
But aren't you limited? I mean, like in my space, I'd have no candidates.
I'm not limited though. That's just the thing. If it was limiting, it would be a problem. Do you know how often I come across candidates that are good, that are interviewing elsewhere? It hardly ever happens. The open to work candidates, people like my recruiters will bring me an open to work guy. I'm like, that guy's he's a schmo. I can't use him. Right? It's hard for me to explain, but my industry's really weird.
Okay,
I literally just called somebody a schmo because that person is proactively indicating they're open to a new job. This is fucking fascinating. You literally just said that.
I said he was a schmo.
You literally just said that. That guy's a schmo.
This is exactly what Animal was hoping for. Look at that.
No,
those are
he's
the
a schmo for a lot of other
roll
reasons.
the tape,
He's a
Animal,
schmo
because
for a lot
that's
of
what
other
I
reasons. Not a
heard.
schmo because he's anywhere elsewhere. He's a schmo because he doesn't have the right personality. He doesn't have the right fit.
Because he's open to work.
No, that's not what I said.
That's Animal.
No. That is 100% what you said. That's what I heard.
People have bring me candidates that are open to work, and when I interview them or talk to them, I realize they're not for my client. I can't.
So now there's an interview in between before you decide.
Talk to, whatever it is. But I don't seek out open to work. I will get recruiters that will bring me open to work, and I will say, no, this is not a good guy. This will not fit.
After you spoke to them.
Or it depends. It depends. If he looks really good and I talk to him, at 99% of the I'm not going to harp on this, but I can tell you this: 99% of the time, open to work candidates don't fit my clients' jobs, and it has nothing to do with them being open to work or interviewing elsewhere. It has to do with a lot of other factors that I'm not going to go into.
Okay, but so maybe you should go into it because we're trying to understand the definition of the word schmo. Because you said this person's open to
anybody
work.
I don't play. Anybody my clients, any
candidate
my client won't hire is a schmo. Any candidate my client won't hire is a schmo.
Okay, that is the definition of schmo. Somebody write that down.
Yeah.
Okay.
Slow and curly. You've heard about
Are we having fun yet?
I want to say a couple of things. First of all, Tom's been on the show regularly. He's somebody I admire. I don't necessarily agree with everything about him.
There's no shade here.
But I'll tell you something else. Just like Amy is a natural talented presenter, I think Tom is as well. He's very lively, as you can see. So I believe he does a good job. And he said something today that I've noticed it's always been for me. It's really hard to find multiple candidates for certain jobs. It's just, these people say, oh, I sent out 6 candidates, 6 resumes in 2 days. I never had that experience. I've never had that experience, right? So that's true. Also, Steve Levy, I feel a bit bad. Everybody's talking over you. It's your fault. Your mic isn't loud enough to talk over them. I haven't forgotten about
and
you.
if I talked over you, Steve, I'm sorry. I didn't.
Just want you to know. Everybody. It's
87 years old. You have wonderful health care in Canada with your hearing check.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
I hate to agree with Animal, but you might.
But I think, seriously, overall, and I want to close out with this because I do respect Tom as a fellow professional. I really do. I'll little animal show BS aside. This is so important for job seekers to understand that every recruiter looks at this through the lens of their own experience and their own, drivers, financial drivers, client drivers, industry drivers, cultural drivers. So it's like you can't look at how Tom works and say, "Oh shit, that's how recruiting happens." You can't look at me that way either because I operate differently, Steve operates differently, and so on.
Mute yourself, Mario. You got shit in the back. We can all hear.
I didn't say anything.
Yeah, but it's picking up. I'll pick it up.
You got an echo. Yeah, it's Mario. There we go. Go ahead, Amy. Sorry.
So I was just saying, that's important for job seekers or candidates to understand, because if you want to work with Tom, you're going to have to fit a certain mold or certain criteria. Same with me. I only recruit hardware folks, right? So that's going to be a particular mold and criteria. So it's so important, and I'm glad that we talk about it because job seekers should know. They should know, well, hey, you know what? Rich probably isn't the guy for me because he's dealing with $1 million billers. Tom's not the guy for me because he deals with superintendents hiding under rocks. Amy might be because she'll talk to any damn body, So, it's okay. There's no wrong way to do it as long as it's ethical.
Job hunters. That's his point as well, okay? He doesn't work with job hunters.
Yeah, I don't really work with job seekers.
That's okay. That's okay.
I have 10 jobs, 12 jobs that are posted, and I never get nobody applies. I've never had anybody apply to my job. Well, I say never, if I do, they're schmoes, right? They're never.
But I want to put, Amy said something.
Schmo. We're good.
Hashtag schmo.
Amy said something. Amy said something that plays into Tom's hands here, okay? She said only 10 to 25% of applicants have the minimum requirements. They are schmoes, okay? They are
I don't know, but I would say
you really
schmo.
think it's
That's
that high,
Tom's
Amy?
word. I don't want to steal
Amy.
it from him, but
do we really think it's even that high? Honestly,
Yeah, that's my
depends.
point.
Amy, I actually meant to call you when I read that.
Yeah.
And I'll agree with Rich. I think the number is, well, there are factors. First, I think the number is closer to 10% and not a whole lot higher.
It depends on the job.
But
to be honest,
the point here, and this is where our profession needs to do better. As a profession, we are horrible at writing job descriptions.
Oh yeah.
I mean, horrible. It doesn't matter what side
Well,
of the fence you
and
are.
when the hiring manager is the one writing the job description,
we
it's
get
even
we
worse.
get horrible
we all
job
know that,
descriptions.
and some of you know, I've been speaking about this at conferences for 15, 20 years now. Just that. That's the one thing we all have to do better on.
I could agree with that.
Not
Yeah.
focus on.
No, I don't agree.
Of course you don't, Michael.
I'll tell you why.
Don't mute yourself.
That's not the issue. The issue is these people apply to anything because they're
Well, they
schmoes.
do that
If you want to
anyway.
call them
You know why they do
craplicants,
that?
that's
They-
the old word. That's
As someone who has been serial, I've been
that recruiters have
Applicants, a
some
t-shirt needs
innate
to be made for that.
ability to discern, to smell talent, even with the shittiest resume in front of them.
Exactly.
Hey, there's a home for
Most
everybody.
recruiters suck.
This is true. One
There is.
person's A candidate is somebody else's C candidate, and I made lots of money on B candidates for years and years, so I'm okay with that.
I agree with that, and the point that's how we explain marriage. Also,
I've placed lots of schmoes. I've placed schmoes. But
Listen, I mean, the problem is the hiring managers never actually explain what that A candidate looks like to them because they don't know.
and that's true. Where, if you read the Robot Proof Recruiter, Chapter 5,
Great book.
Chapter 5.
Does
that come with a mug?
Yeah.
I probably
get
have
you
read
a
that
mug.
too, yeah.
Great book. But yes, please
Hold on, you
buy
gotta
a
put yours
mug.
up
The
too.
puppies need you.
There you go.
But the point is, the point ultimately here is, you know, and it's incumbent upon all of us. Hiring managers don't know what the hell they're looking for. Yeah, send me more. I'll know it when I see it.
It's a dating
No, we don't play that game.
No,
Yeah,
we don't.
it's
The good recruiters don't play that game, and we're able to articulate and define what the real deliverables are, what the real
Well, and that's
initiatives
part of the
are.
service, right?
That's
And I think
what
we
we're-
don't want to lose that thread because people are like, oh, you get paid for delivery, you get paid for a candidate. No, you don't. You get paid for the start to finish service. All of the hand holding, all of the negotiation, all of the influencing, like that is all part of making a successful placement. It's not just grabbing somebody random out from under a rock and handing them to a candidate or to a hiring manager. You got to like manage those expectations. And that's what the value of recruiting really is. I just don't want to lose sight of that. Yes, the end result is a placement. I understand that. But everything that goes into the placement is so, so, so important. And recruiters should spend more time there.
It's that, you know, every
You kind of blew my mind, Amy. I never thought of it like that as the holistic process, even though that's what I pride myself on
It's what you do.
and have written. I don't want my KPI to be based on an ass in a seat. I want it to be based on the whole dealio. And you raise it, and it ties into the hiring manager not being able to write a good job description. So how can you judge me not finding your ass when your description stinks? Brilliant. You blew my mind. Blew my mind.
Welcome to contingent recruiting and the agency recruiting.
I know. I guess. I was contingent for over a decade. I get it.
You can't hear him.
That's
Steve's
what-
trying to
no, every journey that we lead someone down, that first step, that's on us. We're the one. If we're either going to be recruiters or talent advisors to play off Lastalica's line. Talent advisor questions stupid hiring managers. Amy and some of you have seen me talk inside my first 2 slides. I always ask the audience in the last 30 days, how many people here wanted to kill a hiring manager? Gets more laughs than anything I've ever had, and it's year after year. It works
today.
So, you know, we have to do that. That's to the whole process thing. That's the service we provide. You know, if we can't get the hiring manager articulate what the real job is, we have failed. We can find a body.
But, you know, just I think what Rich said is we don't make money for being consultants. we make money for getting hires. Am I right? Is that what you said, Rich?
Leads to the hire.
Well, it's part of the consult. It's part of the. It's the part of the recipe, Michael.
Yeah, I mean,
End result
You
is
know
the
that.
cake, but you're not paid for handing someone a cake. You're paid for baking and decorating and
And
That's why
all
we
guys
need
are-
it ties in for why people hate us, which is we don't send emails saying, I'm sorry you shit the bed on the interview. I'm sorry we hired him. And the reason is because recruiters don't get paid on that. So when your KPI and your bonus and everything is tied into the ass in the seat, then we not only lose sight of the process, but we forget to pitch it. We forget that that is what makes what we do unique and special.
Because
the
you
agency
get
side to
what
the internal
you
side, it's a
reward.
different argument too. For us,
You get
listen,
what you reward.
yeah. What was that? What was your reward?
You get what you reward. So if you're rewarding a recruiter on offer accepts,
what you
that
expect,
recruiter's going to
exactly.
do whatever to get the offer accept. Doesn't matter doesn't matter the recipe, right? Because you're not rewarding following the recipe. You're rewarding handing somebody a shit cake. And that is also a problem sometimes in recruiting.
one likes shit cake.
Not with this
that's
group,
not true.
but
Okay, I know
maybe
what you
others.
think. Okay,
But that's when I talk about getting paid to do the search. I get paid $5,000,
understand that.
$3,000 to
Yeah.
$5,000 to do the search, and then I get paid if you hire someone. Right. So it's about the
Absolutely.
process and being part of the team, and that we're working together to come to a common goal. So I put
Yes.
together a search plan. I put together a search process. I do the search for you, and you're paying me to do that. Then if and when you hire someone, then we get another fee. So it's a different
Do you do-
relationship we're trying to build.
Tom, do you deduct the engagement fee from your invoice, your final invoice?
Depends on the search, but 90, I would say 50-50. Yeah.
I mean, it's a.
Like, okay, this is a good. I don't know if it's a segue.
It's a.
I don't do retained. I don't do retained. I do
No,
engagement.
but it's a client. It's a contain. We call it container searches.
Yeah.
quasi-
Container, retingency. I've heard it a million times. But I had a search for a CFO in Dallas that got put on hold. They paid me a $10,000 retainer. Jump. So 8 months later, they just called me. I said, yeah, we'll pick it back up. It's going to cost you another $5,000. The check was FedEx today. No questions asked,
Yep,
right?
that's
Because
the client.
all the work we did on the other
That's
stuff.
a client that values Tom
Yeah,
right there.
that's a partner.
That's
Exactly.
they recognize the value in the service
We
that
need a
he
lot more of
provided
those.
and wrote him a check, and that's how it should be.
But Amy, that's the relationship we have with certain hiring managers. It's the same thing.
80% of my hiring managers right now were my candidate. They don't play
There you go.
because they know I don't play. So I am very fortunate in that way, even for a corporate sellout. Like I'm really lucky that I have that initial bond that started when I went and found
Amy,
them.
you know what? I have a memory. You told me they try to pull all the tricks on you as every
Not
student.
anymore.
Your own placements, they pull stuff on you when they're hiring managers, and you say, no, you're not going to do that with me, okay? Yeah. One of
I mean,
those
like, don't
things.
you remember? Don't you
Yeah.
remember 3
Yeah.
years ago when you were my candidate?
Hey, you schmo. Hey, you schmo.
I can't take Tom's word. That's his word. I'll have to come up with something else. I don't want to. I don't want to.
I stole that from Steve.
I got other questions that where you guys
Steve, what's his
fight
name?
about, but we're getting near the end of the time. Ernie
We're
hasn't had a
not
chance to talk.
fighting. We're
Okay.
bonding, right, Tom?
That's
We're besties
fighting is
now,
good.
right?
Fighting is good
Sounds like
here,
this.
okay? It's not a negative word, okay? But we've got,
I got
Sasha.
two-
Not
I got three
fighting,
resident
it's
kids and a
encouraging
resident wife. Can't deal with another
dialogue.
It's
I love
passion. It's
dialogue.
passion. Okay. We got Kenneth Nelson, who's really Kelly Nelson, if I'm not mistaken. Okay. And Tom Byrne and Ernie. Anybody want to say something about what's been going on before somebody talks over you? Anybody else want to say something? Anybody? Okay. No? Okay. Okay. Is there anybody got any issues before I bring up I guess the final one? Okay. Here's what Tom says.
It's Tom.
I think it's Tom. He says, sorry, Thumb. It's Thumb. It's Pistachio. In my mind, he's Mr. Pistachio. Okay, Pistachio
Oh,
says,
Ernie's here. I gotta behave.
okay, make the candidate ready to accept the offer when it comes. Okay. Make the candidate ready to accept the offer when it comes. Okay. At the end of every call, ask this: based on what you know so far, if XYZ Incorporated offered you $90,000, are you prepared to accept, resign at your current company, and start in 2 weeks? Okay. There shouldn't be a lag time between offer and acceptance. Amy is famous for saying, I'll give them a week. They got all these other jobs to consider, right? You guys don't agree on that either.
I close early, close often. And again, I'm working with a candidate that's only interviewing with my client or doesn't have other stuff. So
okay.
We're
Amy,
talking about this the whole entire time.
This is again reflective of industry norms.
Yeah, that's
recruiter comfort,
you realize how
what works for you. Here's the thing, and I understand that not everyone can pull this off. Y'all, I mean, you can color it ginger, but you won't have ginger powers. I'm just saying. Here's the thing, though. Okay, no, all kidding aside.
I didn't get that. Okay,
she's a day walker.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
I'll have to look that up later.
No.
I have found, and again, this is specific to my industry that I work with. This is what works for me. I'm not saying Rich or Tom should do it, but working with engineers, I've already said they want to collect lots of data. They want to have those multiple interviews. They want to get those multiple offers. They want to do all of that. If there's one thing I could do to fuck up my placement, it would be a hard close. Because you know why? Every other recruiter's doing a hard close. So I'm the one that comes in like, hey man, I'm on your side. I just want you to make the best choice that's right for you. I think we're the best choice for these reasons and because you told me this, but I want to respect your decision and what's best. And I win every fucking time because I don't have to put the screws on people.
I agree 100% with that.
Our job is to make them close themselves. They are supposed to. You don't make them drink. You make them thirsty.
Make them thirsty.
Yeah, the line is, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. Newman says, I don't care about making him drink. I want to make him thirsty.
I love that. I'm stealing. You blew my mind, friend. I'm stealing that.
Amy makes a good point. I work a very weird niche, and I have candidates from sales all the way down to civil engineers. And the civil engineers are a little different than the sales guys. And I can't be as hard with them, but I am closing early often with them. I am talking about, hey, did you get the propaganda I sent you? Did you get all the information? How do you, if they make you an offer X, are you still on board? Does it still look good? Is everything? And then when it comes time to the offer, no, I don't expect them, and I do not expect a civil engineer to close immediately because they do have to look at the offer and figure it out. But I don't expect, and unfortunately, Amy, a week or 10 days, right? There's no reason for that. And the question I was asked, what are you going to do?
Here's what's funny about that. Here's what's funny about that. I give people a week. They text me that night.
Or the next day. I usually give them 3 days.
Or the next
what are you going to know between now and next week?
Yeah.
And again, you're working with people that may have other
date is one
things.
thing.
Yeah.
The actual decision
they have to do it. They accept as soon as the offer comes. No 3 days. What's going on here?
Every single one of my nevers always had exceptions, right? So it's and the key to that whole thing is it's close early, close often. So at the end, there's no surprises.
You got to have the money conversation.
There's no
surprises.
Yeah, I hate this
question.
There's no surprises.
Do you pre-close it all?
Of course. All day, every day.
You have to.
I'm in contingency. If I wait a week, I lose. Yeah, I'm in contingency. If I wait a week, I lose.
Money. I'd be like, this is what he could be. Will that work for you? I'm having that conversation constantly. Just because I'm not turning the screws on somebody doesn't mean I'm not having conversations.
How much are you currently making? What is your bonus? How much do you pay for?
What do you need to see?
Analyze them down to what they pay for benefits, how far they drive to work, because they're engineers and they look at all that stuff. I had a guy tell me one time, because of the commute, I'm only getting a $7,000 raise because I have to spend an extra $100 a week in gas. Right. When you deal with people like that, you have to cover all those bases to make sure they have
what you were saying is every time you talk to the person, if we come today with this offer, would you be ready to accept? Okay, you backpedaled on that yourself.
No. I do say that, but I don't say it that abruptly.
Well, you wrote it that abruptly. You wrote it
because
that abruptly,
I can't explain.
and I'm quoting you. Okay,
because I can't explain. You are so
literal,
black and white about everything. And I can't explain all this.
Okay, and
we got to come back next week, Tom. We got more to say on this topic.
You guys can come back if you want. Tommy Byrne, the big Byrne, he's got the final word. He said if he gives them any leeway, he's fucked. Okay, isn't that what you said, Tom? I shouldn't talk like that.
I did, yeah.
If I give him a week, I'll lose it.
How much time do you give them? How much time do you give them?
I gotta run. I got work to do.
Bye.
With me, it really depends on the client. If the client will allow a day or two, then we'll do it. I'll let the candidate know. But I'm the same way with Tom. I close them. I've already pre-closed them before I even have the offer. And then when I do have the offer, I don't even right away. I say, what has changed since we last spoke? What else you have going on right now? Because I need to know. And look, sometimes they tell you the truth. I learned in this business what I got in with 34 years ago. Their lips move, they lie. Okay. But having said that, you need to find out, are they really serious about the opportunity or not? Because it doesn't make a difference whether, like Amy said,
you're not answering the question.
How
long do you give them to accept the offer?
I did. Depends on my client. If they want an answer within 24 hours or 48 hours, I tell the candidate that. I do try to close them at that point and say, are you ready to accept today and turning your resignation?
I try to close lower too.
And if they're waffle, then I find out what else, what are your concerns? What are your hesitations?
What is preventing you from accepting?
What's preventing you from accepting it? I don't want to give them a chance to shop my offer or my potential offer, which in contingency and IT and technical, they do it all the time.
So how long usually does it take? 24 hours or
yeah,
same day?
24 hours or same day. But if it's more than 48 hours, we usually end up losing the person. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, everybody. There's never been a recruiting show that I've seen that was more lively than this one. Maybe Tom's Friday, the Pistachio's Friday shows. I haven't checked that out. Okay. Thanks, everybody. Take care.
Take care, guys.